Senator from Wisconsin.
I rise to, first of all, say thank you to the Senator from Tennessee for leading this vote of disapproval on what is really a terrible rule. It's a solution looking for a problem. I spent 31 years running a manufacturing plant. It's been my experience. I've never had somebody in my operation asked to go from salary to hourly. I remember in 2004 when they tightened the rules and a number of people who worked for me were forced into hourly. None of them wanted to go. By the way, none of them received higher wages or higher salary. They just lost flexibility. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Being an accountant, I just kind of want to go through the numbers. Now, this is the Department of Labor's own calculations. They claim that there will be $1.2 billion more wages paid to workers. That's what they claim the benefit's going to be. But they also admit there will be $678 million in compliance costs to business, just trying to figure out the rule, trying to implement it. What they're missing is if wages, and I think that's a big if, because I think what will end up happening is, employers are competing in a global economy. You can't just increase costs. So my guess is basically what's going to happen to my business in 2004 is they'll just adjust. The workers won't get any more money, but let's just say $1.2 billion in wages are paid to workers. Well, that's a cost to business. So if you take a look at the overall benefit to the economy, wages might increase $1.2 billion, but business costs will increase at $1.2 billion. That nets to zero benefit to the economy, but there will still be a $678 million compliance cost to business. And of course, that will be added to the already onerous regulatory burden on our economy. There are three different studies: the Small Business Administration, the Competitive Enterprise Institute, and the National Association of Manufacturers, putting the cost of complying with federal regulations somewhere between $1.75 trillion to over $2 trillion per year. If you take the median estimate of that, divided by 127 million households, that's a total cost of compliance of federal regulations of $14,800 per year per household. The only larger expense to a household is housing. That's the cost of complying. Let me finish with another figure. $12,000 per year per employee. That is the cost of just 4 Obama regulations to one Wisconsin paper manufacturer. I can't tell you which one because the CEO fears retaliation. Now think of that for a minute. But just 4 Obama regulations are costing one paper manufacturer the equivalent of $12,000 per year per employee. So if you're concerned about income inequality, if you're wondering why wages have stagnated, look no further than this massive regulatory burden. And of course, the overtime rule is just one of those burdens. And I guess I just ask everybody, would you rather have that $12,000 feeding government in compliance costs, or would you rather have that $12,000 in your paycheck feeding your family? Mr. President, making a living is hard. Big government just makes it a whole lot harder. And this overtime rule is just going to make it that much more incrementally harder. And with that, I yield the floor.